Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Ladies Listen Up. What is your relationship with your money? Wow, today we have such a treat in store for you. The guys were knocking at the door. They wanted to get into our platform, so I had to give in, ladies. But guess what? It's going to be a treat for us because if we just give an ear to hear what the men think about their money or think about money, period, not only will it help us with our relationship with them, but it will help us to kind of just really understand the flip side of it. What do they think about money? Now, today, Coach Michael couldn't fit in our cookie jar, so I'm sure though he's going to give us some great tips and some great information. So, ladies, listen. Coach Michael is such a special guest. He is a mentor and a coach and a friend and a partner. He is just such an amazing person, and I just so appreciate him. And so, would a better way, or not a better way, to kick off our series to adding men to our platform so that we can hear the other side. But I'm going to let Coach Michael tell you a little bit about himself. Coach Mike, the floor is yours, sir.
Well, thank you, Dr. Liz, and it's a plum pleasing pleasure to be here on your wonderful podcast today. I'm Coach Michael Bart Mathews, like Dr. Liz said. I'm married to my beautiful wife, who is she leads, she follows, and she gets out of the way, which is what I do for her as well. I do several things. I'm manuscript development specialist. I'm the author of several books. Three of those books are behind me, two behind me. And Dr. Liz is one of my clients who worked with me to get her to become a published author. And we do asset diversification, as well as finding your momentous clarity, real estate. I can go on, but this topic is about money. So we're going to keep it focused and intentional about money. Right, Dr. Liz?
Absolutely. Yes. I can't wait to hear you just give us a little bit about, what men really think about money. How do you navigate money? And then even if you get into a little bit about, from your perspective, I guess you can go from both perspectives because you were a single man at once, and then, from the angle of being a married man. So we have single women that are watching and married women that are watching. So how can we better navigate our relationships when it comes to money?
Well, as a single man, well, this is for single and married men as well, this portion here. The first thing that I was always taught coming up when it came to money, even before you got money, is your name, your social security number, and how you rank and fit up. So for me, even before the word business came into my life, it was always have a good credit score, pay your bills on time, go to work on time, don't take off, make sure you do this and that. So coming out of the gate, men and women can take some of these tips for yourself as well, but this is how I think as a man. Before you can legitimately have a financially fit home, when you look in the mirror, what do you see as a financial educator for yourself, man? You must have your ducks in a row in order for any woman that would really want to follow you or be with you. Because most women I know don't need me or need men, because my wife surely didn't need me for money, because matter of fact, she made more money than me. So she didn't need me for money. She needed me to be a man. So what I decided to do is to become that man, financially speaking, that all men need to become, and take care of my business, keep my mind on my money / our money, and make sure my ducks is in a row and never go in a purse, regardless of anything. If she asks you something, just hand her a purse. Don't go in a purse. Right, Dr. Liz?
Absolutely. that's the rule straight across the board, right? Everybody understands that rule. And I'm going to take my tea, and this is ladies listen up, so I'm going to just listen. I want to hear what you have to say.
Okay, well, on the 40-40-40 plan, when you're working 40 years of your life, 40 hours a week to retire on 40% of your income, in order to reach that goal, if you're not thinking business minded, and I don't know who can live on 40% of the income, but that's the way the system is set up. So you might as well work it to your advantage. So you begin with the end in mind if you are not a business owner. And most people, when we go to work at an early age, and we don't think business, we think, I have to work till I'm 65, 66, 67. Maybe I'll get a pension. Maybe I'll get Social Security. Maybe I'll get a 401k plan. Maybe I have an annuity. But along that journey, if you don't do certain things, guess what? That won't even happen either. I'll give you a great example. Like when you get your paycheck on Friday, what do? What's the first thing you should do? Pay yourself first. Most people say 10%, 20%, but I say whatever it is that you can afford to pay yourself. Because the second thing you should do is make sure you pay all of your bills early or on time, because that helps your personal credit score. And if you want to go into business, that still translates over to your business credit, but your personal credit should be spotless as you can make it going up that ladder towards success. And want to continue on with a few more
Yeah.
tips.
No, yeah, I think that's really good. Yeah, give us a couple more tips because I did have another question for us too. Because somebody had asked this question, and the reason that we start incorporating, okay, what do men think, and even doing this special, series on, different men's opinions about money. So we did have a couple questions that came up too. So I know this is impromptu. I didn't give you the questions ahead of time, but I respect how you think and the way you process stuff. So one of the things was, why do you think nobody teach men about money? Why is it assumed, or do you think that it is assumed that men should just automatically know?
That's six in one hand, half a dozen in the other. Some people assume men should already know simply because of the position that man has put himself in with the founding. I'll just start off with the United States then. With the founding of the country, it was all men. It wasn't women at the table. It was all men. So by the corporations founded and ran and operated mostly by men. So it's a natural phenomenon to think that all men knew, which we all did not know, even though that was the case. So with that being said, just in order for men to step up to that plate, financially speaking, of course, we have to be taught financial literacy education in some instances. Some of that generational conversation was not taught to. I'll use my own father, for example. Even though he worked a great job, paid for a house, paid for cars, did all he was supposed to do, he didn't pass down any financial literacy education for me, my brothers, or my sisters in terms of what it would take us to break the cycle of having a good job, paying the bills, but not having enough money left over because you had more month than money at the end of the month. So it's just assumed that men know, but all men do not know. At one point, I was one of those men who did not know. Making money was never a problem for me. What to do with it was a problem. Meaning I had fun, I spent it, I didn't save. The few things that I'm going to talk about in the future of this podcast are things that I did not do early in my financial career. But I woke up one day and hit my head up against the wall, and I looked at life a little bit different. Because if you continue to do the same thing, financially speaking, of course, and expect a different outcome, you're going to be rudely mistaken. So those are some things, some real tips that women need to understand about men or their man that they just might not know. Another example was my wife was a vice president of a Fortune 500 financial services firm. I was a Chicago Transit Authority worker. So those are two different financial worlds. I had a paycheck and she was talking about mergers, acquisitions, millions and billions of dollars worth of transactions. So when I got together with her, I already knew she knew about finances. And when she got together with me after having a few financial conversations, she knew what I didn't know about finances. So that's where my financial literacy education came from. So here's a pro tip for women. All of the women out there, that if you have the financial literacy knowledge, wisdom, and education, and you have a man that loves you or likes you or admires you or is your business partner, or be like me, just sit down and will listen to you, pour out your financial nuggets to him and watch him change eventually over time. Now, I know part of the problem is some men don't want to listen to women, even though the women are successful. The women are corporate climbers. The women have the same thing or better than some men do. But that's the gem. That's the secret sauce that men don't understand, that you all have the knowledge and wisdom as well. And if we sit down because we don't know what we don't know, and you all do know what you do know, then it'll be a better place when it comes to the financial merging of relationships between man and woman. But if he doesn't listen, he doesn't listen. You can't, and all you can say is, I tried, he just didn't listen.
That's good though. No, you just hit on something that I think a lot of women have a challenge with. Okay, because you can have, some of the things right in the relationship, or the majority of the things right in the relationship. But when it comes down to that sensitive topic of money, and I think there's a shame, or associated with maybe not having as much as the woman does. And I think that caused a lot of tension in the relationship. And then oftentimes, if the man is not secure in himself, or if he's experiencing some insecurities, then he starts to now resent the woman for that. Can you touch on that just a little bit?
Okay, and instead of him, meaning the man, looking at the blessing that came into his orbit by his woman, his wife, his girlfriend, his friend, his coworker, or empowering woman that wanted to share knowledge and wisdom to a man. Let's leave it as the simplistic as terms as possible as well. And by him being not up to par financially, there's a shame token. Again, I remember early in the conversation, I said, my wife made more money than me. I didn't know that till about 6 months into the relationship. But after I knew it, it didn't change anything, except one thing. I said, well, wow, what are you doing? Where do you work at? What's your role? What's your responsibility? And then she started bringing home some of the business briefs and the bulletins, nothing that was proprietary that I couldn't read because it was a financial institution. But she said, read these financial instruments right here. And then within 6 months, I started implementing those financial instruments into our life. And she said, well, you might as well continue to take over that. So I'm letting you guys and gals know that a real man will respect and admire and don't mind being taught by a woman who loves him or wants to help him or just wants to serve him. And more importantly, just help him to be a better man. But we as men have to get that stigma out of our minds, body, soul, spirit, that a woman can't teach me nothing or a woman can't tell me nothing. Well, in my attitude and my friends and sphere of influence is the right woman, sometimes she's going to lead, sometimes she's going to follow, and sometimes she's going to get out of the way, whatever the situation calls for. But as a man, when she steps in front of you because she can handle it and she knows she can handle it, it's not that she's doing that to make you feel bad. She's doing that to save you some disgrace, maybe save you tons of money because you didn't know what you didn't know. And that's part of her role. It's to help you when you can't help yourself, maybe because of her experience or your lack thereof. Man was in transportation. You ask me anything about the SOPs in transportation, I'm going to tell you just like that. You ask my wife anything about transportation, she can't tell you. Reverse the script. Asked her anything about financial literacy education early on, and she could tell you. Asked me, and I had to ask her. But I was willing to listen, learn, and apply to her help, training, and assistance to become the man I am today, to write a book titled Financially Speaking, to go to international countries speaking on financial literacy education. That's because I believed that my wife could make me a better man. And when she could, she just did. She didn't have to ask me. She just started talking. And I sat back and listened. Then I would implement those ideas and strategies and techniques and system processes and procedures came in place within our own household. And then we started going up the ladder to financial success.
That is so powerful. Everything that you just talked about was so powerful because we find women, I want to say blaming themselves or taking on the responsibility of changing that man. You know what I'm saying? Versus being his help and allowing him to accept your help. Men start to resent the woman for that. And just what you just said was just a total perfect example. And so this piece here is ladies, listen up about your money, but we're talking about first we're going to the mindset, right? Because you can't get your money straight if everything else is all out of whack. Still, you can't get it straight until we get our minds right. So that's what this is all about. And I just think it's so amazing. I know we're running out of time, but two things. I know I didn't tell you I was going to do this, but I always keep my book here handy. And so, with your permission, I want to use some of the nuggets as we continue to go forward, because this is an amazing book, and I thank you for it, for writing it, and putting it all together so that we can have a map, if you will. I love it when you say the best improvement starts with self-improvement. And that is like the key. That's the ticket right there. So before we wrap up today's episode, and I thank you for your time, and definitely want you to come back and bless us with some more nuggets, because sometimes we just need to hear a different perspective. We need to hear it from a man himself. So is there anything that you'd like to leave us with today, Coach Michael?
Yes, I think because we're going into a new age of financial education, and the old way of doing business is slowly leaving. The fiat money is not backed by gold since Nixon crashed it. And going forward, the blockchain is coming on board. Cryptocurrency is coming on board. And I think men need to understand something about gold and precious metals. That's what I really think. And then, because a lot of women I know about gold and precious metals, but us brothers don't. And brother doesn't mean race, color, or creed. It just means a word from all of us male brothers. Like sisters are sisters, brothers are brothers, regardless of the race, color, or creed. So as we go forward, if you listen, learn, and apply to the help, training, and assistance, and expand your mind, expand your financial literacy education. And when women that know more than you are willing to pour into you, take it as a badge of honor. Because she could have kicked you to the curb, but she saw something in you that you didn't see in yourself. And she was willing to pour out knowledge and wisdom and education and experience that she learned into you. And then you're going to turn around and act like she's not worthy of teaching you. It's called self-actualization, self-improvement, self-awareness, and understanding the empowering woman that brings her worth to the table, that not only makes her better, but makes you better, whether she's with you or not. That's what I want to say.
Wow, we can drop the pen. We can drop the mic right there, sir. I thank you. I really appreciate it. You all, if you want to get a copy of Financially Speaking, our information, Coach Michael's information is going to be in the description box. You can get your copy, and we're going to start teaching through it. But anyhow, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Listen, learn, and leverage the information that has been given to you today. We're going to continue this series. We're going to help everybody to get your money right. Bye for now, and stay fearless.